The VDL is back for Season 2. If you don't know, the VDL is a Pokemon Draft League I started earlier this year, and so far it's been a blast. A Pokemon Draft League is where players, who we call coaches, go through taking turns drafting until each coach has 11 Pokemon. Then, each week, coaches get paired up to battle, and at the end of the regular season, the top coaches go into a single elimination bracket, with the winner being that season's champion. The format for Season 2 is National Dex Monotype. That means that all of the coaches' Pokemon must share a type. Once a type is drafted, it was no longer available, just like how the Pokemon are. My team, the Indianapolis Infernapes, happened to get the first overall pick, which meant that I would get to pick any type that I wanted. Before I tell you which type I picked though, please drop a like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the Season 2 content coming out. After much thought, I ended up choosing Dark. In Generation 9, Dark gained a bunch of new strong Pokemon like Meowscarada, Lowkix, Roaring Moon, the Ruinous Quartet, and King Gambit. Once I picked my type, I had to wait until everyone else picked their type and their first round pick. Once it got back to me, I got two picks. I went with the aforementioned King Gambit and Grimmsnarl. These two are the only Dark Steel and Dark Fairy lines respectively in the game, so it felt very important to grab these two first. They both help with Dark's weakness to Bug, and Grimmsnarl helps with the fighting types. But by the end of the draft, I will end up dropping Grimmsnarl, but we'll get to that later on. After another 30 picks went by, it came back to me, and I made a very unusual pick for the third round. I picked up Morpeko for a few reasons. First, it is the only Dark type in the game that learns Rapid Spin to remove hazards, which honestly I was very shocked by. But this will be very important for some of my later picks, and I don't want to be clicking Defog too often. Second, Morpeko is the only Dark Electric type, which wasn't really as important as learning Rapid Spin, but finally, it was worth 10 points or lower, and anything worth 10 points or lower can use Z moves of the type that the coach drafted. That means I'm using Darkium Z on Morpeko, who learns Parting Shot. Z Parting Shot is a really good Z move that fully heals whichever Pokemon you switch out into, and I'm very excited to try that out. I then picked up Hisuian Samurott since he is the best Spike Setter in the entire game. Pairing it with Morpeko felt like a very good combination. At this point in the draft, I wanted a bit more bulk on my team, so I picked up the combination of Incineroar and Ting-Lu. Incineroar is the best Dark Fire type available outside of Chi-Yu, which I honestly didn't really want with how one-dimensional it is. Incineroar provides Intimidate support for my team, as well as being able to spread burns with Will-O-Wisp and getting momentum for my team with Parting Shot. Ting-Lu sets up even more hazards for our team while also being a very strong tank, especially with its ability Vessel of Ruin, lowering the opponent's special attack by 25%. I was now noticing how slow my team was, and I needed to fix that, so I grabbed a returning member to the Indianapolis Infernapes, Meowscarada. I drafted Meowscarada in the first season of the VDL and used it to some pretty good success. My favorite set was when I brought a Focus Sash Overgrow Flower Trick set, and it stayed alive for almost the entire game, doing huge damage to my opponent. Glad to be using it again, and it also gets Toxic Spikes and even more spikes for my team. Toxic Spikes aren't going to be an issue for my team though with my next pick, Hisuian Qwilfish. Hisuian Qwilfish felt like it fit into this team very well. Not only was it a bulky Intimidate user, but it can also hold Eviolite, which gives it a 50% boost to its defenses. And not only can it set Toxic Spikes, but it can also absorb them since it's a poison type who touches the ground. Coming down to the last three picks, I had realized there was one big change I wanted to make to the team by the end of the draft. For my 9th and 10th pick, I got Galarian Moltres and Morgrem. Moltres is a very strong sweeper with the both agility and nasty plot on top of its berserk ability, giving it a +1 special attack when it goes below 50% health. Now, as I said earlier, I ended up dropping Grimmsnarl during the 12-hour grace period at the end of the draft. I was only able to do that because Morgrem was still available and only worth 1 point. That meant I was able to pick up a strong threat with the 11 points I was saving by using Morgrem instead of Grimmsnarl. They do the same thing, so I really had no issue with this trade. My final pick was Sableye to help my team with the huge natural fighting weakness I have. When the 12-hour grace period hit, I picked up Roaring Moon. This gives me a strong, fast sweeper that is also a dragon type. I needed a dragon type for a few key resists that I was missing. I'm very excited for this season to start. The week 1 pick'ems has already came out, so be sure to check that out, and the battle will be going up next week. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all later.